The drama begins with a beautiful girl named Ayla, who is a famous idol with her own music group. We see her performing on stage, singing and dancing passionately, while the audience is amazed by her talent. She has many fans from around the world who constantly engage with her and chant her name. So far, everything seems normal and perfect. But then, we see two twin children watching her. What's strange is that they understand exactly what's going on. They speak to each other, and we learn that they were actually adults in their previous lives who died in an accident and were reborn as children. Even more surprising, they turn out to be Ayla's sons, and they remember everything from their past lives. Their nanny enters the room, surprised to see them enjoying the concert. She's relieved she can calm them down easily. Then she receives a message from Ayla saying she'll be home after the concert. When she tells the twins, they look at her in a way that makes her feel they actually understand her, even though they're still just toddlers. She finds their behavior strange, but doesn't know what to do about it. Ayla returns home and plays with her children. When she picks one up, the other starts crying, so she ends up carrying both. The twins are overjoyed that their favorite idol, the one they've always admired, is actually their mother. Later, Ayla's manager arrives, and she asks if she can bring the children to her concert the next day. He refuses, saying she's a famous idol and no one should even know she's a mother, especially since no one knows who the father is, and Ayla refuses to say. She then remembers her past, how her lover abandoned her when he found out she was pregnant with twins. She decided to raise them alone and promised herself she'd become a star while also being a good mother. Years pass, and her group becomes the most famous in the world. She secretly raises her children, hiding the fact that she's their mom. One day, while training and dancing with them, her manager walks in with a new job offer, a leading role in a movie. She happily accepts, but learns that filming will be far away, so she decides to bring her children along. The next day, they all ride in a car to the filming location. The kids are excited to be with her. The nanny warns them not to tell anyone that Ayla is their mother and to pretend she is their mom instead, otherwise it could cause problems. The kids agree. At the filming site, the director welcomes Ayla but is surprised by how much the kids resemble her. He grows suspicious and goes to talk to one of the boys named NOKO. Impressed by the boy's confidence and personality, the director offers him a small role in the film. NOKO is thrilled and begins learning his lines. His sister, Ruby, sees this and feels a bit jealous that he'll act alongside their mother. Later, a girl their age appears. She's also acting in the film but treats them arrogantly because she's already famous. When filming starts, the twins perform their roles perfectly, impressing everyone with their talent. Afterward, Ayla spends time with her children, telling them how much she loves them and that she'll always be by their side. But when they fall asleep, she watches them with sadness. We learn that she grew up as an orphan in a shelter, faced a lot of bullying, and went through many hardships before finally achieving fame. She promises to be a loving mother and to give her children a happy life. The next day, her manager gives her a week off to do whatever she wants. The kids are excited. However, the manager warns her not to tell anyone where she is or contact her ex. Ayla reassures him, joking that she's not a plane to just fly off, but after he leaves, she secretly calls her ex, tells him their kids have grown up, and asks him to come see them. He refuses and hangs up on her. At night, Ayla watches her children as they sleep. She feels heartbroken because they don't know who their real father is. At the same time, we see one of her fans, but it becomes clear that he's mentally unstable. He manages to track down her location. He's furious because he just found out she has children and that she's been hiding it from the public all this time. The next morning, Ayla wakes up and goes to open the door, and to her shock, the unstable fan is standing there with flowers. As soon as he sees her, he suddenly stabs her in the stomach. He yells at her, "You're a liar! You deceived your fans and betrayed those who loved you. I have to fix your mistake myself." She apologizes to him and looks at him with a smile, saying, "I did this because I wanted to make my fans happy." When she focuses on his face, she says, "I know you. You always attend my concerts wearing a red cap." She thanks him for always supporting her. The fan is stunned that she remembers him. He realizes he misjudged her and regrets what he did, but it's already too late. He panics and runs away. Ayla collapses to the ground bleeding. Her son, NOKO, sees her and runs to her. He calls an ambulance trying to save her life. Ayla hugs him and apologizes for letting him see her like this. Ruby, her daughter, wakes up and starts crying. Ayla tries to comfort both of them, saying she wished she could have seen them grow up. She asks them to follow their dreams. She cries because she knows she's leaving them behind. The last thing she tells them is that she loves them. Sadly, she dies. Her children are devastated, crying uncontrollably as they feel helpless. The police arrive and take over. The next day, the news spreads everywhere. Ayla, the famous idol, has died. The real shock comes when everyone learns she was killed by one of her own fans. The police later find the fan's body. He had taken his own life out of guilt. Later, her children watch a video Ayla had recorded the day they were born. In it, she says they are the most precious thing in her life. The day of her funeral comes. Ruby is heartbroken and crying uncontrollably for her mother. Akwo, however, stays quiet. It's clear his mind is elsewhere. He gets in a car and drives off. Outside, he sees Ayla's fans holding flowers and crying. He's surprised they found out about the funeral, since it was held in secret and no one knew where they lived. He starts to suspect that someone leaked their location. Just like the unstable fan had somehow learned the hotel address they were staying at. He suspects a betrayal, but still trusts their manager and nanny. Then he remembers Ayla calling her ex and telling him the address so he could come see his children. He becomes certain that this ex, their real father, was the one who leaked the information and was behind it all. Akwo starts putting the pieces together and becomes convinced that his father was the reason his mother and idol died. He vows to find out who he is and take revenge. 10 years pass. Akwo is now a handsome young man working as an actor, but he's never forgotten his mission. He's still searching for his real father to avenge Ayla's death. On the other side, Ruby also remembers her past, dancing with her mother, who noticed her talent early on and taught her everything. They trained together every day. Back in the present, Ruby decides to follow in her mother's footsteps and become a famous idol too. She applies to a talent competition. She dances and sings using the same moves her mother taught her. The judges are impressed and notice her resemblance to Ayla. They ask if she knows her, but she doesn't reveal the truth. She just says, "She's my role model and I want to be like her." When she comes out, Akwo is waiting for her. He tells her to focus on her studies, but she refuses and insists on chasing her dream. They return home together, but Akwo then secretly contacts the competition judges, pretending to be her father. He asks them to reject Ruby, saying she applied without his permission. Their nanny overhears the call and asks him why he's doing this. She pleads with him to let her follow her dream, but he refuses, saying, "I'm protecting her. I don't want her to end up like our mother." He walks away and locks himself in his room. There, he continues working on his plan, collecting information about people who were close to Ayla, convinced that one of them must be his father. The next day, Ruby receives a letter from the competition she applied to. She finds out she was rejected. She feels disappointed and frustrated, especially because the judges had seemed pleased with her performance. Her friends try to cheer her up, and then suddenly, a stranger appears and hands her an invitation. When she returns home, she tells them she received an offer to join a private idol group, but Akwo is completely against it. He tears up the paper and insists they're scammers. Ruby doesn't believe him and gets upset. She heads back to her room. Akwo realizes he has to prove his point. That night, he disguises himself and heads to the venue where the group performs. He meets one of the members and pretends to be a journalist. While recording her, he asks if she feels comfortable in the group. She reveals that the group's manager mistreats them, gives them very little money, and exploits them. She explains that many of the members want to leave, but they can't because they signed penalty clauses in their contracts. Akwo returns home and plays the recording for Ruby. She's shocked to hear the truth, but also deeply saddened. She had promised her mother she'd become a famous idol like her. The nanny is moved by Ruby's words and decides to support her. She tells Ruby she'll help her pursue her dream. Together, they go to the old practice studio Ayla used to train in. They begin cleaning it up so Ruby can use it for training. Meanwhile, Akwo visits the director who worked on his mother's final film before she died. The director offers Akwo a role, telling him he's been talented since he was young. But Akwo refuses, saying he has a goal to achieve and can't be distracted by acting yet. He must first find his father and take revenge for his mother's death. The director doesn't understand what he means. After Akwo leaves, the director opens his safe and takes out 2 envelopes. Ones Ayla had left behind. She had asked the director to give them to her children when they turned 20 so they could finally learn the truth about their father. A week later, school starts. Ruby is excited because she got into an art school. She heads there with Akwo, who's not as enthusiastic. He only enrolled to keep an eye on her. At the end of the day, he asks if she made any friends, but she replies sadly that she hasn't. She explains that everyone there is already famous. Some are actors with followers, others are singers and idols, and she's the only one who's done nothing yet. Suddenly, as they're walking, a girl spots Akwo and calls out his name. He's surprised. How does she know him? She reminds him that they acted together in a film when they were kids. Her name is Jenny. She's thrilled to see him again and asks why he stopped acting despite his obvious talent. He avoids answering and walks away, but she follows him, spying on him until he enters the director's house. She sneaks in after him and is surprised to see him again. She reminds him of the movie they did together as children, and he remembers how, after filming, she cried and asked to redo a scene because Akwo had outperformed her. Jenny is embarrassed and challenges Akwo to act again. She wants to prove she's better than him now. She tells him she's starring in a new movie and invites him to act alongside her. At first, he refuses, but when he hears the name of the film's producer, he realizes it's someone who used to be close to his mother. That changes everything. He agrees to join the project. Back home, Akwo starts memorizing his lines. Ruby sees him and gets upset. She says, "I've been trying for so long to become an actress and I still haven't made it. You don't even want it, and yet opportunity just comes to you." Akwo explains it's only a small role and asks her to let him focus. Once he finishes, he heads to the filming studio. There, he watches the movie's lead actor in a scene and realizes the guy can't act at all. He clearly got the role through connections. Akwo talks to Jenny and asks why she agreed to act with someone like that. She confesses that ever since she grew up, she hasn't been getting any roles. She accepted this movie just to get back into the spotlight, even if it meant working with someone untalented. She begs Akwo to help her make the film a success however they can. He's moved by her honesty and agrees. But later, he sees the producer smoking and secretly takes the cigarette to do a DNA test. He wants to find out if this man is his father. After completing the task he came for, Akwo keeps his promise to Jenny and does his role. However, during filming, he starts provoking the lead actor, saying lines that aren't in the script and bullying him on set. The director notices the tension, but he doesn't stop the filming. Akwo's plan works. The lead actor loses his temper and punches him. Jenny also starts acting her scene with deep, genuine emotions. As a result, the scene turns out brilliantly because it looks so real. Everyone on set is impressed and amazed by their talent, applauding them enthusiastically. All of this was made possible thanks to Akwo's performance. Jenny keeps staring at him, feeling like she's falling for him. The news spreads quickly, and everyone starts talking about Jenny's incredible acting. Later, Akwo is sitting alone when the producer approaches him and says, "Your acting reminds me of someone I used to know, a girl named Ayla." Akwo becomes anxious, afraid the man might realize he's Ayla's son, but Akwo suspects something. He feels like the producer is hiding something. When he returns home, he finds the DNA test results have arrived. He goes to his room to open them, only to discover the producer is not his father. He feels disappointed that his plan didn't work. Suddenly, Ruby walks in and asks him for a favor. The next day, Akwo sends a message to Jenny asking to meet her after school. Jenny gets excited, thinking he might have feelings for her. She goes to the meeting spot, but when she arrives, she's surprised to find Ruby there instead. Ruby explains that she's the one who wants to talk. She asks Jenny to join her idol group. Jenny declines, saying she doesn't have the time. Ruby tries to convince her, saying she's talented and popular. Akwo steps in, hyping Jenny up, saying things like, "You're beautiful, and the group would definitely succeed with you." Jenny's heart skips a beat, and her eyes light up with excitement. She agrees in less than a second. She goes home with them and signs the contract. Akwo is relieved to know his sister is safe now that Jenny is with her. Suddenly, he receives a call. It's the producer offering him a role in a new show. The producer tells him, "If you accept, I'll give you important information about Ayla." Akwo is shocked and agrees. The next day, he goes to the video studio, only to realize the show is actually a dating reality show. He must pair up with one of the idol group members. He feels awkward, but decides to go through with it so the producer will keep his promise. He acts cheerful and sweet on camera. Jenny, watching the show, is shocked and jealous. She has feelings for him and is afraid he might fall for someone else. Later, Aquo is paired with a girl who immediately flirts with him on the show. She confesses she liked him from the first moment she saw him. Aquo is nervous, but he pretends to like her back because the cameras are rolling. When he returns home, he finds Jenny waiting there, clearly upset. He doesn't realize it's because she loves him and is jealous. The next day, Aquo goes to the studio again and meets the producer, asking for the information about Ayla. But the producer refuses, saying, "You'll get everything after the show ends." Then he walks away. Meanwhile, another girl in the show, named She, tries to connect with one of the guys to pair up with him. Suddenly, the flirty girl swoops in and steals him away. She gets furious and confronts her, and in the heat of the moment ends up injuring her. Realizing what she's done, Shai immediately apologizes, crying. But the flirty girl plays the role of the kind, forgiving one, hugging Shai and pretending to be sweet to gain public sympathy. Her plan works perfectly. She becomes even more famous and gains a large fan base. Meanwhile, people online start bullying and insulting She, turning against her and painting her as the villain. At school, She hears her classmates gossiping cruelly about her. Hurt and humiliated, she leaves in tears. That night, she's on her way home when a storm hits. It starts raining and she slips and falls on the street. Sitting on the ground, drenched and broken, she remembers all the cruel words people said about her. She feels hated by everyone, bullied, and worthless. Crying, she decides she wants to escape from it all. She walks to a bridge, closes her eyes, and prepares to jump. But just in time, Aquo arrives. He runs toward her, grabs her before she can do anything, and saves her life. He holds her tightly, trying to comfort her and ease her pain. Aquo takes Shia with him to the studio, and there she's surprised to find that the rest of the group is waiting for her. She's even more shocked to realize that they genuinely care about her and are worried. Overwhelmed with happiness, she thanks them and considers quitting the show. But Aquo convinces her to stay and promises to help fix her image in front of the public. The next day, he starts working on her confidence. He takes her and the rest of the team out so they can bond and understand each other better. They go to the beach, play games, take pictures, and enjoy themselves. They even celebrate her birthday together, give her gifts, sing, and dance like one big, happy family. Aquo succeeds in turning her from a lonely outcast into a social, loved person. Her story goes viral. Photos and videos spread online, and people start liking her. She becomes more popular and gains lots of followers. Shia is touched by what Aquo did for her and starts to develop feelings for him. She asks him what kind of girl he dreams of being with. Aquo immediately thinks of Ayla and begins to describe her, how beautiful and kind she was, how her smile gave him hope in life. Shia starts to realize he's talking about the late singer Ayla, though she doesn't know she was his mother. That night, she decides to imitate Ayla. She looks at pictures and watches her concert videos, trying to embody her personality. The next day, the group gathers again for filming. Shia stands in front of the sun and laughs from her heart. Aquo is stunned when he sees her. His heart beats faster because she reminds him so much of Ayla. He keeps staring at her. Shia is thrilled that she got his attention and asks him to go out with her. He agrees. They sit by the sea and talk about Ayla. She says it felt like Ayla sang from the heart, like she had someone she deeply loved, probably a child, and that her children were her whole life. Aquo is taken aback by her insight and is moved by her words. That night, he looks through old photos and memories of Ayla, feeling her absence deeply. The next day, Jenny goes to school and hears the students gossiping that Aquo might be dating Shia. She feels jealous because she has feelings for him. Suddenly, Aquo shows up and tells her it's all just acting. Then he asks her out after school. She thinks it's a date and gets excited. She joins him right away but is surprised when he takes her to a sports field. They play the sport he used to play with his mother. Jenny feels disappointed. He treats her like a sister, but she doesn't mind too much. She's just happy to be close to him. The day comes to film the final episode. Everyone is excited. Aquo decides to surprise the audience. He publicly confesses his feelings to Shia and hugs her. Jenny watches the episode, and even though she knows it's just acting, she feels heartbroken and cries. The next day, Akwo meets the producer. The producer thanks him for the successful show, which got high viewership, and promises to fulfill his promise. They agree to meet the next day so Akwo can learn who Ayla truly loved. Later, Shia talks to Akwo. She asks if their relationship will continue after the show ends. Akwo honestly tells her he doesn't love her. It was all acting. He offers to continue pretending until the public forgets. Shia feels sad because she liked him, but she respects his honesty and thanks him. The team then says goodbye, and everyone goes their separate ways. Akwo discovers that one of the girls is a YouTuber. When he talks to her, she reveals her dream was to become an idol, but now she's 25 and too old. Akwo feels sorry for her and brings her home, asking the caretaker to include her in his sister's group. But the caretaker says it's difficult, as idols can't be older than 20. They ask the YouTuber why she didn't pursue her dream earlier. She shares her story. When she was young, she took dance and singing lessons. But one day, her mother got sick and was hospitalized. She had to quit her lessons and work during the day while caring for her mother at night, since no one else was there. By the time her mother got better, she was too old to debut as an idol, so she started a YouTube channel instead. Everyone is moved by her story. They decide to like and subscribe to her channel and even activate notifications. Ruby is touched and agrees to let her join the group, helping her achieve her dream. The YouTuber is overjoyed and thanks her. The three of them go to shoot an ad for the idol group, excited and full of hope. That night, Akwo goes to meet Shia, and they take photos together to post online so people will think they're still a couple. Jenny sees the pictures and believes the relationship is real. She feels hurt and goes off alone. When Akwo returns, he sees Jenny and asks what's wrong. She refuses to answer and tells him not to talk to her. She walks away and returns to the idol group. There she finds Ruby and the YouTuber fighting. Each wants to be the leader of the group. They discuss it and finally agree that Jenny should be the leader. They go and ask her, but she refuses because she doesn't believe in herself. She walks off and sits alone, thinking hard. Akwo sees her and tries to offer her some water, but she refuses to take it. She keeps treating him coldly, leaving him confused by her behavior. He asks her why she's acting that way. She decides to confront him about confessing his feelings to Shia, but he just walks away, goes into his room, and falls asleep from exhaustion. The next morning, he wakes up to his phone ringing and is surprised to see it's the producer calling. He goes to meet him, and the producer asks him to tell him about the person Illa loved. Then the producer starts talking. He says, "The first time I saw her, she was sad and depressed and didn't want to be an idol. But once she joined the acting company, she met the love of her life and married him in secret. When she came back, she was full of hope for life." Aiko is surprised by what he hears, but starts to believe it's true because the timing matches. It was during that period that she got pregnant. However, he still doesn't know who her husband was. Suddenly, a man walks in, a friend of the producer who works as a scriptwriter. Aiko notices that the man looks a bit like him, and he feels a strange familiarity, but he doesn't think too much of it and heads home. He starts thinking of a new plan. He decides to join the acting company to try to find out who his father is. Meanwhile, Ruby and her team start training to achieve their dream and prepare for their first concert. But Jenny isn't excited. As an actress, she feels she's not as talented in singing and dancing as the others. She sits alone, thinking, and Aiko sees her. He tries to talk to her and gives her some encouragement, telling her, "I'm sure you'll succeed." He tells her he'll come to watch her perform to motivate her. Then he leaves. Jenny is touched by his words and decides to prove to him that she's worthy of his trust. She goes back to her team and trains with new enthusiasm. The next day, Aiko goes to the acting company and runs into Shia. They both do an audition for a drama and practice their scenes together. The director is impressed with their talent and selects them for the show. They're told filming will begin in 2 days. But suddenly the manga writer refuses to continue because she wants to revise the script. Everyone is shocked. There's no time left. The director and producer try to convince her to move forward with the current version, but she insists that it must match her original story exactly and decides to rewrite it herself. Aiko feels frustrated, knowing this will delay the filming, and leaves with Shia as they wait for a new filming date. On the other side, Ruby and her team keep practicing their songs for the concert, but they get exhausted and decide to take a break. They notice Jenny is more energized than all of them. She tells them that since childhood she's been running and training because she's an actress, so she's stronger than them. She keeps training on her own, knowing Aiko will be in the audience and wants to prove herself. At night they try to sleep since the concert is tomorrow, but they can't. They're scared no one will come. Ruby remembers her dream and how she promised her mom she'd become an idol, and she sleeps feeling comforted. The next day, they go to the festival where they'll perform, but they're shocked to see many other groups there. They feel nervous because the place is crowded. Their manager takes them to the changing room, but it turns out to be a shared room with many other girls. She tells them that beginner idols use these shared spaces, while the famous ones get private stages and rooms. She urges them to give it their all so they can rise to fame. They all agree. They sit to eat before their performance, but Jenny is too nervous to eat. She pretends to be fine and goes to the bathroom where she hears people talking about her, saying she's a failure because she couldn't make it as an actress. She tries to gather her courage. She knows the team is counting on her as the leader. She returns, and they all change. Ruby notices she's scared and tries to comfort her, saying it's normal to be afraid the first time on stage. Jenny is moved and tells her, "I'm not afraid for myself. I'm afraid I'll mess things up and ruin it for you all." Ruby reassures her, saying, "I believe in you because you're talented. We're one team, and we'll succeed together." Jenny feels happy and regains her confidence, determined to give it her all. Then it's time for their performance. The three girls step on stage, full of excitement. They start singing. Even though it's their first time and they're still beginners, the crowd loves their performance. Everyone is impressed by their vocals and synchronized dancing. The audience cheers their name. Suddenly, Jenny forgets the choreography. She gets nervous and fears she'll ruin the show. But then she sees Aiko in the crowd. He starts dancing to remind her of the moves. She's overjoyed that Aiko kept his promise and showed up to support her. She decides then and there that she's going to make him fall in love with her. She manages to finish the performance successfully. After it ends, the audience erupts in applause, chanting their group's name. Their fame spreads quickly, and soon everyone is talking about them. Later, they all gather at a restaurant to celebrate their achievement. Aiko tells them that he's going to act in a new drama. Ruby is thrilled. She thinks he's doing it to follow his dream, not knowing that he's actually doing it to find his father and take revenge. Meanwhile, the writer and the manga creator finally manage to revise the script together. They send the new version to the cast, and the next day, Aiko begins memorizing his role. Shia calls him, excited that they'll be acting together. A week later, filming begins. But suddenly, the writer receives a phone call with bad news. Aiko notices something's wrong and asks about it. He finds out that one of the actresses broke her leg and had to withdraw. The writer is frustrated because there's no time to find a famous replacement. Aiko offers to help. He suggests that Jenny take the role. She's talented and has been acting since she was a child. The writer agrees and calls Jenny, who joins the cast the next day. She's thrilled to finally get her big break and thanks Aiko. Shia sees them talking and realizes Jenny likes Aiko. Jealousy builds inside her. After filming, the two girls argue over Aiko. Both want to win his heart and begin competing for his attention. Aiko is confused by their behavior and tries to stay focused on his real goal. He secretly collects personal items from the crew to test their DNA. He's convinced one of them is his father. Then, during one of his scenes, he has to cry over the death of a friend, but he just can't do it. The director feels his emotions aren't real and keeps asking for retakes. During a break, Jenny gives him some advice. She tells him to recall painful memories to trigger real emotion. Aiko follows her suggestion and remembers the moment his mother died, the person he loved most. When the camera rolls again, he imagines her in front of him, and he breaks down crying. Everyone is amazed by the raw emotion in his performance. His tears feel real. Aiko realizes he's actually talented at acting, but he can't handle the pain of seeing his mother die in his mind. He collapses from emotional exhaustion, and filming stops as everyone rushes to check on him. While unconscious, he dreams of his mother lying on the ground. He feels overwhelming guilt for not saving her. He wakes up in a panic to find Shia by his side. She's worried and gives him water, trying to calm him down. But he doesn't want Ruby to see him in that state, so he asks Shia to take him somewhere else. She brings him to the director's house so he can rest. The director mistakes her for Aiko's girlfriend and starts talking with her. He reveals that Aiko experienced trauma in his childhood. Every time he remembers that day, he breaks down. Shia is shocked and wants to know more, but the director won't go into detail. He only asks her to stay with Aiko until he recovers. She stays by his side, noticing how afraid he looks while sleeping. He keeps calling out for Illa in his sleep. She holds his hand to comfort him, but starts connecting the dots. Aiko once told her that Illa was his dream girl and that his sister wanted to become an idol just like her. She begins to suspect Illa might be his mother and that he witnessed her death. The realization breaks her heart and she starts crying. When Aiko wakes up, she hugs him and promises to stay by his side. The next day, they return to the drama set and finish filming. Aiko tells Shia that acting doesn't mean much to him. He reveals that someone out there ruined his life and he's seeking revenge. He expects her to be scared and back away, but instead she surprises him by saying she'll help him. She trusts him completely and says she'd never abandon him. Soon after, the first episode of the drama airs and everyone watches it. It becomes a hit and trends on social media, especially the emotional scene Aiko performed. Back at the studio, Jenny gets jealous. She throws shade at Shia, telling her, "I'm more famous than you, and your acting isn't even that good." She pulls out an old magazine featuring herself as a child star and accuses Shia of copying her acting style. Jenny tries to prove she's the better actress, and she does. She nails her scene, embodying the character so well that everyone is impressed. The drama's views soar, and it becomes a top trend on every platform. Later that day, when Jenny returns home, Ruby and the YouTuber visit to congratulate her. Their caretaker surprises them with a big announcement. She's decided to create a new song and dance just for Jenny. However, they're waiting for the composer to approve it. Ruby is excited and can't wait. She decides to go meet the composer herself. She barges into his meeting and pleads with him to compose the song quickly. She's determined to achieve her dream and become a famous idol. The composer is inspired by her passion and cancels everything to work on her song immediately. He manages to finish it quickly and sends it to her. Ruby listens to it and the whole group is amazed. They all agree to record it as soon as possible so they can release it to the world. After that, Akko returns home and finds that the DNA test results have arrived. He goes into his room and starts reading them, but they're all negative, except for one. He's shocked when he sees it. He's finally found him. The next day, they're filming the final episode of the drama. Akko decides to be there before carrying out his plan for revenge. The final scene involves him finding his lover lying on the ground, covered in blood. He runs to her to try and save her, but she apologizes for leaving him and asks him to move on with his life without her. In that moment, he remembers his mother. She had said the exact same thing before she died. It feels like he's reliving that painful memory all over again. He breaks down crying, calling out to her. Everyone on set is deeply moved by his performance, unable to believe how real and powerful it is. What they don't know is that he's truly grieving. Those tears are real. After filming ends, he goes to meet an older actor who played the lead role. He asks to talk to him and shows him the DNA results. It turns out they are half-brothers, sharing the same father. Akko asks him to tell him who their father is. The actor is surprised and takes him home to talk. There, he asks Akko for his mother's name, but Akko refuses to say. The actor tells him that their father was also an actor, but a failed one. He died with lots of debt and had many relationships, deceiving women and using them for fun. That's why he ended up hating him. Akko is shocked by what he hears and leaves feeling disappointed. His plan for revenge has collapsed. When he gets back home, he finds Ruby waiting for him, worried. She asks where he was all night, but he lies and tells her he stayed at the director's house. He goes into his room and looks at his mother's photo, remembering their moments together. He decides to let go of revenge and start a new chapter in his life. The final episode of the drama airs the next day, becomes a massive hit, and trends everywhere. Afterwards, Ruby and her team gather at home and plan a trip where they'll also record their new song. Jenny suggests Akko come along to relax, and he likes the idea, but decides to bring Shia too. Jenny gets jealous and says, "Wish you'd invited me like that." The next day, they head to the airport. Shia arrives just in time, and the team welcomes her, except for Jenny, who clearly doesn't like her because she's jealous over Akko. Jenny gets upset when she sees Ruby joking around with Shia. She still thinks Shia is engaged to her brother. She leaves, visibly annoyed. Akko follows her and calms her down, telling her that he plans to reveal the truth soon, that he and Shia are not in a relationship and there's nothing between them. She's happy to hear that and goes back with him. They board the plane and travel to the city where they'll be filming. The director is waiting for them, and although they're tired and hungry, she says there's no time to rest. She takes them straight to work. Akko and Shia walk around the city together. He tells her he and his sister were born here and takes her to his old house. He shows it to her but doesn't say anything about his past. After that, they head to the studio where Ruby and the team are recording their song. Jenny is annoyed when she sees Ruby, but Shia notices Jenny's dress is out of place. Worried about her appearance on camera, as she's supposed to be an idol, Shia helps her fix it and adjusts everything for her. Jenny is touched by her kindness, thanks her, and they start to get along better. They begin recording the song. Shia notices Akko watching Jenny dance and realizes he has feelings for her. She feels hurt but still encourages him to confess to Jenny. However, he remembers what happened to his mother when fans discovered she was a mother and decides to stay away from Jenny to protect her. After finishing her recording, Ruby asks Shia to go for a walk. Shia is surprised but agrees. On the way, Ruby confesses that she's in love with a much older doctor, the one who inspired her to become a famous idol. But he suddenly disappeared, and she never knew where he went. She hopes that if her song becomes famous, he'll see it and return to her. Shia is moved by her story. Ruby then takes her to the hospital where he used to work. They meet a nurse who tells them he quit and vanished. No one has heard from him since. Ruby feels heartbroken and leaves the hospital. She goes to the mountain where she and the doctor used to meet. She digs beneath a tree and finds the box they buried to open once she became an idol. Shia notices something strange on the ground. She follows the trail down the mountain and finds a skeleton. Horrified, she screams. Ruby hears her, rushes over, and is shocked to see the body wearing the doctor's coat. She realizes it's him. He had fallen from the mountain and died. She's devastated and can't believe she'll never see him again. She sits on the ground and breaks down in tears. The police arrive to take the body for burial. Ruby goes to the station to give her statement, and after that, they let her go. The next day, Shia goes to talk to Akko and finds out that he's decided to give up on his revenge. She senses that he no longer needs her help, so she chooses to walk away. She leaves, crying. And now, dear viewer, let me explain you things a little. That doctor was actually our hero Akko, but reborn. And Ruby was once his patient in a past life before she died and was reborn into this one too. Neither of the two siblings knows the full story, and both are hiding their pasts from each other. Back to the present, Akko runs after Shia, wipes her tears, and finally confesses his true feelings, that he loves her. He moves closer and gently kisses her on the cheek. Meanwhile, Ruby goes with her team to shoot a commercial, but the director notices that she's not herself. She seems down and quiet. The team tries to cheer her up and convince her to take a swim to lift her spirits. She agrees, and once in the water, she starts connecting the dots. She begins to suspect that the doctor's death wasn't an accident and realizes someone is behind both his death and the leak about her mother's past. The next day, they return to the city. Ruby visits her mother's grave and promises her that she'll take revenge on the real criminal. But after she leaves, a mysterious figure, his face hidden, appears at the grave and laughs. We realize he's the true culprit. Later, Ruby returns home and watches the music video they made with her team. The YouTuber on their team decides to upload it to her channel. Jenny tries to talk to Akko but notices he's starting to ignore her. She figures out that he's now in a relationship with Shia, which breaks her heart and leaves her in tears. The YouTuber notices how upset she is and tries to comfort her. She decides to help by going to Akko and asking him to treat Jenny kindly. He tells her that he's keeping his distance out of fear, for Jenny's sake. Since she's becoming an idol, if fans find out about a relationship, it could bring her harm. The YouTuber understands and realizes he's right. The next day, she posts the music video, and to everyone's surprise, it becomes a huge hit. The video racks up millions of views and goes viral across social media. Thanks to that, Ruby and her team become famous, transforming from unknown girls into beloved idols. But despite their success, the YouTuber notices that the group doesn't seem as happy as she is. She finds out Jenny is heartbroken over Akko, who no longer talks to her. She's also confused by Ruby's sudden change in behavior. The next day, Shia meets Akko and is also puzzled by his shift in personality. She asks him why, and he decides to tell her everything. He says, "All my life, I've searched for my father to take revenge. I found out he was an actor, but now I know he's already dead, so I've chosen to move on and start fresh to finally chase my dream." Shia is surprised by his words, but something feels off. When she gets home, she searches the actor's name online, the one Akko believed to be his father, and discovers he died before her own death. That means he couldn't be Akko's real father, and the real killer must be someone else. She's right. That night, Akko returns home and finds his late mother's manager waiting for him. He reveals the truth, that Ruby's mother was actually married to a different man, the one responsible for her death. Akko is stunned. He thought it was all over, that his revenge story had ended, and he was ready for a new beginning. Now everything is crumbling again. He breaks down crying. The manager feels sorry for him and tries to comfort him, embracing him and promising that he'll personally hunt down the real killer. "She was like a daughter to me," he says, "and I will make him pay." But Akko is still in shock, unable to process everything. He sits alone in the rain, haunted by memories of his younger self, blaming himself for not saving his mother when she died in front of his eyes. Overwhelmed by guilt, he throws out his arms, and when he snaps back to reality, he's shocked to find Jenny in front of him. He realizes he accidentally pushed her down in his panic, and guilt floods over him as he sees her lying on the ground. He apologizes to her and tries to explain that he didn't mean it, but she thinks he pushed her because he hates her. She gives him the umbrella to protect him from the rain, then walks away in tears, not understanding why everything feels so broken. Suddenly, she gets a message from a friend inviting her to hang out at a lounge that night. Jenny decides to go, hoping it will help her forget what happened. When she arrives, her friend introduces her to a famous director. They start drinking together, and the director offers her a role in his upcoming movie. She's excited and agrees. But then he asks her to come to his office to read the script. She goes, thinking it's all professional. Unbeknownst to her, the so-called friend secretly takes photos of them together, planning to post them online to spark false rumors. Jenny is shocked to find herself not in an office but in the director's home. She feels scared but goes along with it. A short while later, she leaves the house in tears. We learn that the director tried to harass her and she regrets ever trusting him. Meanwhile, Akko returns home, overwhelmed with frustration. He smashes everything around him and calls Shia, telling her that ever since he met her, he's changed. She gave him hope and a reason to live. He thanks her for being in his life, but says he must leave to do something important. She's stunned and realizes that he's decided to hunt down the real criminal and take revenge. Shia makes a brave choice. She decides to sacrifice herself to protect him. She finds out the criminal's name and heads out to finish him off. But as she walks toward the bridge, she stumbles and almost falls off. Out of nowhere, Akko appears and saves her just in time. She's shocked to see him and asks how he found her. He reveals that he had placed a tracking device in her bag to protect her. When he sees the knife with her, he realizes what she was planning. He refuses to let her do it and insists on handling it himself. Then he walks away. The next day, the photos of Jenny and the director go viral. Rumors spread accusing her of being immoral. She disappears and no one knows where she went. Akko feels guilty. He knows he's the reason she's hurting. He searches for her and eventually finds her sitting in the park where they met after school. She's completely broken, crying her heart out. He hears her whispering his name, saying she needs him. When she turns around and sees him, she's embarrassed, thinking she must be imagining him. But at the same time, she's happy that he came. Touched by her pain, Akko takes her home. Later, he sits and thinks about how to save her reputation and make people forget the rumors. He realizes there's only one way. The next day, he holds a press conference and reveals the truth. He, his sister, and Ruby are the children of the famous singer Ayla. Everyone is stunned. The news spreads like wildfire, and people start talking about the revelation, forgetting the scandal around Jenny. But when Akko returns home, he finds Ruby waiting for him. She's angry. She slaps him, furious that he exposed the secret their mother had worked so hard to keep hidden. She tells him he broke their mother's final wish. Then she leaves. But Akko had another plan all along. We find out he made the announcement on purpose so that the criminal would realize they're still alive and come after them. That way, Akko could finally take his revenge. And that's how season 1 of the series ends. If you want to know what happens to Akko, whether he succeeds in his revenge or if the criminal takes him and his sister down, you'll find out in season 2. If you're excited for it, let us know in the comments and turn on the notification bell so you'll be the first to see it when it drops. Thanks for watching.